What Charles said was very timely, and we don't just rely on the state party to tell us what to do. We always have and will continue to do our own strategy as well and align with the state party because we are there to work regardless of who's there with us. We're going to go get it done. And in that spirit, I'd like to call up Evvie Harmon. Now, Evvie is a gift to Greenwood, I like to say. She lived up in Greenville with her husband for years. They have a dental practice, Whole Life Dental, here in Greenwood, right on Main Street or right on Montague. And she is a seasoned activist. She was one of the primary co-founders of the Women's March in 2017. If you remember wearing the pink hats and marches happening all over the world, she was one of the founding members of that group. She has also worked very hard as a coordinator for the James Smith campaign back in 2018. So with that, it was 2018, right? Or was it? Okay. So with that, Evvie is now a member of our Greenwood Executive Committee, and she's going to talk about Get Out the Vote strategies. Please welcome Evvie Harmon.
It's been several months since I got to speak in front of you guys, and I actually have something very similar to talk to you about that I did last time. Last time we talked about precinct reorganization and the importance of engaging your community on the precinct level. Well, this is very similar because this is Get Out the Vote efforts. And we're not talking just about the traditional get out the vote, meaning you wait until 6 weeks before the election day and you're finally getting out there into the streets and you're knocking on doors and people open the door and they look at you or they look at the candidate and like, where have you been for the last 4 years? It's the first time I've seen you in 4 years and all you want is my vote, right? Well, that's not really the greatest get out the vote strategy. So in 2018, I was the upstate coordinator for the James Smith campaign during the primaries. I did not work for the campaign after the primary. During that primary, they had 3 candidates running in a statewide election. Now, we were told one of my favorite words in life, and that is electing James Smith in the primary without a runoff is going to be impossible. I love that word, impossible. Impossible makes me happy because I'm like, I want to prove you wrong. We wanted to prove everybody wrong. So guess what happened after a bunch of hard work implementing a lot of the strategies I'm going to talk about today? Do you think we went to a runoff? No, we didn't. We got 63% of the vote, which again, we were told is impossible. And I don't think has ever happened in a gubernatorial statewide election in the primaries with 3 or more candidates running. Yeah, we kind of broke the mold there. And I'm here to talk to you about how we did it. Okay, the first thing you have to do is listen, especially as candidates, right? You have to get out into the community. You have to host events. You have to go door to door. You have to put out surveys online. You have to listen to the people that you are seeking to represent. Otherwise, why are they going to listen to you? And much less listen to you, why are they going to spend their time going to the polls to vote for you? And will they even spend time to help you get elected? You know, it all starts with listening. And then once you listen, then you take action on what you've heard. And then you can go around to the people that you've listened to and say, look, I heard what you said about there not being enough money for public education. That's a really big one in South Carolina because public education is tied to property taxes. So then you start building policy around how we change the way dollars are reallocated for education, especially in the wake of our new superintendent who's just trying to voucher the entire state. And then you can prove to the people that you have been going door to door and say, look, my policies are reflecting what you said you wanted from me. And that all starts with the ground game. Bill and Jamil cannot go and knock on every single door that is a Democrat. It's weird with the voter file, you guys. You don't register as Democrat or Republican in South Carolina. All we can tell is the primary you voted in. So anyone who anyone who voted in the Democratic primary, we can see them as a friendly in the voter file. But that's still thousands and thousands of people between these two districts. There's no way they can knock on that many doors. These people have full-time jobs. They are the chair and vice chair of the Democratic Party, and they're running for a House seat. I don't even know how they get any sleep. But the point is they need an army of volunteers underneath them to go and knock on doors and go to these events and take notes and say, look, I'm listening on behalf of my candidate. All right, so canvassing, door to door. It really is the best way to get out the vote. It's actually one of my least favorite things to do in this whole get out the vote strategy. I do not like just going and cold knocking on someone's door. I mean, like, hi, I'm Evvie. I hope I'm not bothering you. Which you probably were. When people knock on my door, I'm like, really? I don't want to talk to this person. But at the same time, it really is proven to be the best way to get that one-on-one interaction. And even if that person's not really wanting to deal with you at the moment, if you hand them that literature and you're really, really nice to them and just say, just in your spare time when you're sitting on the couch scrolling through Facebook or, scrolling the internet, just look us up. Use this QR code and just look us up. And maybe they'll remember how nice you were and they'll do it. So let the community know that you've got their backs, basically. And then through this process, you're going to find people who are going to be excited about what you're talking about, and those are going to be your future volunteers. Capture those people. Make sure those people are signing up. Raise your hand if you have ever been to our website. Okay, basically you just Google Greenwood Democrats, and it's the first thing that pops up because we have great SEO. At the very top of that, just like any other website, there's a little toolbar. And in that toolbar, there's the button that says volunteer, and it leads you to a very easy to fill out volunteer form. So take the time to go to the website that half of you raised your hand and said you've been to before, and if you haven't filled out that volunteer form, fill it out. If you're not technologically savvy on your phone and you're like, I really don't want to fill out a form online, then talk to me personally. I will get your information and I will plug it into that master form that we have. There's printed sheets at the table. Basically, all we need is to know that you're interested in your contact information, and then you get put into our list of volunteers that we can call. And the thing that I love about the way that Bill has set this up so beautifully for me to jump in as volunteer coordinator is that there's a list of things that you can choose to do. We're not asking you, if you don't like canvassing, like Alan, I know you don't like it, I'm not ever going to ask you to canvass. Why would I do that? But you do love finance and spreadsheets, so I'm going to put you there because that's what you love to do. When you're asking for a volunteer's time, never, ever, ever ask them to do something they don't want to do because they're giving their time away. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. Community events, obviously organizing community events, showing up to community events that already exist. That's a huge part of this effort. And then, of course, social media. I mean, I was born in the early 80s. I kind of have one foot in the feral way of being raised before you had all this technology. And I have one foot in yes, I saw all of social media being created from MySpace through TikTok. It's here to stay, people. Social media is not going anywhere, and the beautiful thing about social media is if you just have a little patience to learn the basics of it, and you spend time to get connected and networked through these social media platforms, you basically have free marketing, free advertising, a free way to get your message out. And that's pretty valuable, right? Especially when we're probably not ever going to raise the amount of money that McCravey does with his 1 or 2 donors. We'll raise our goal, we'll hit our goal, and we'll probably have hundreds of donors. But that's how we're going to win this election. Okay, so once you get your volunteers, this is a list of things that you have to have under your belt to win an election. Fundraiser, and I put the S behind it. You need multiple fundraisers. Do you guys remember Joe Cunningham winning District 1 in 2018? And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning and all the votes were counted, and Charleston was like, yes, we elected a Democrat by this much. He had 3 fundraisers on his staff. 3. They raised an unbelievable amount of money, which allowed for them to pay people. Here's the thing, I love volunteers, but if you can raise enough money to pay somebody and put them on payroll, oh, that's so much better, because that person's going to work like it's their job, because it is their job. So that's the importance of fundraising. The more money we have, the more chances we have to really get out there. Postcard campaign, this needs to start now. Starting next breakfast meeting in January, we are going to always have a stack of postcards to fill out and send to our list of friendlies. Now, I get a lot of crap from organizers about my love of postcard campaigns, because postcard campaigns do not win elections. Knocking door to door, canvassing, engaging people one-on-one, that wins elections. Okay, I agree with that. I do. But when you have a voter file that is so woefully inaccurate from the last time we sent out mailers, you're going to spend your time knocking on doors for people that answer it with a Trump 2024 hat on. That's a waste of your time. So what this postcard campaign does when you start it early is it scrubs the voter file. So you know you're knocking on people's doors who actually are going to vote Democrat or are most likely going to vote Democrat. And it's also a first touch. Community events coordinator, that's a huge one. Canvassers, my goal is to have 100 doors knocked on every week between January and Election Day on average. That's 4,000 doors. We need content creators, social media, media outreach. That's people that work directly with the press. We need voter registration. I mean, it's always important to register new voters, but I think the way you win an election like this is to engage the voters that already vote but maybe haven't voted in the last 2 to 4 years for whatever reason. We need to get them back. Surrogates for candidates, people that go out and speak on the candidate's behalf when they can't make an event. Strategic partners. So goals for the beginning of March, create canvassing groups that will knock on 100 doors per week. Don't necessarily have to be hitting that 100 door per week goal, but we need to have our canvassing groups, our volunteers ready to roll. We need 1,000 postcards sent, and we need to inspire 12 additional super volunteers to sign up. Raise $15,000 between the Greenwood Democratic Party, Bill, and Jamil's campaigns, assign super volunteer roles, and register 50 new voters. So as you can see on my goals slide, it says specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based goals, so SMART goals. So these are SMART goals. They're ambitious goals, but think about the idea of creating 1,000 bags of candy. That's an ambitious goal, right? 3 pieces of candy, 2 stickers, and 1,000 bags. Look around you. You guys knocked that out in 20 minutes. So my challenge to this room today is you come here for breakfast for 2 hours once a month. Double down on that. Give us another 2 hours of your time doing whatever it is that I listed that you would find fun and engaging. Can we do that? Woo! An extra 2 hours a month. That's all I'm asking for. It'll go for miles, I promise. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to me. I'm really excited about 2024, and I yield my time back to Bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Evvie. Evvie's got me extremely anxious now of those goals that she created. Like, my gosh, those are some numbers I don't think we've ever done here. So now I'm nervous. Jamil, hold my hand. Where are you? All right, do you have any questions for Evvie before we let her relinquish her position at the podium? Hold on.
I think we should all say, fired up.
Ready to go.
Fired up. Fired up. Ready to go. Yes, let's go, team.
How many of those are on our goals? Fired up, ready to go. So we got to do 1 million of them, right?
You know, honestly, I've spent so much time with James Smith. I'm kind of a let's do it. That was his phrase, just let's do it. So let's get out there and do it.
Right.
We're fired up, ready to go.
We do have another question here.
It's not really a question, it's just a statement. It's that I agree with those goals, what you've identified, because in looking back with the Obama campaign, which I was in the mix of that every day. Identifying your targets, people, and concentrating on them is really a key, rather
Yes, it
than
is.
wasting your time on a lot. And they did that in several different ways, starting with the phone calling, the other thing. So I really think identifying our folk who we want to target. And I noticed one thing too, where you have concentrated people, like in a neighborhood, where there's or families, where there's a lot of people that can possibly vote our way. You want to look at those and zero in those if you're going to do canvassing.
That
Great
is
points. Thank you, Audrey. All right, thank you, Evvie. Final round of applause for Evvie. Appreciate your wisdom.